Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. I'm back with part 2 of my 10 cards 1 kit using the Simon Says Stamp March 2019 card kit. I'm starting off a little differently here than usual. I really loved all the circles that were included in this stamp set, and I decided I wanted to create a bunch of different backgrounds. So I've taken a bunch of panels that I've trimmed out with that Blueprints 32 frame die. And here I'm taking these circles and layering them, and I just had a lot of fun playing around with different colors and different designs. I have included here my two favorite that I came up with. They are also the longest because I used the most colors, but I have sped this up quite a bit. I'm using Lawn Fawn ink in the colors Peachy Keen, Lobster, Fake Tan, Sunflower, Cut Grass, Minty Fresh, Deep Sea, and Juice Box. So as I mentioned, I have sped this up quite a bit, but if you would rather skip ahead to where I'm putting the cards together, if you go to around the 8-minute mark, that's when I will get started. And for those of you who want to hang around and watch the process video, I'm going to go ahead and turn up the music, and then I will be back as I start putting the cards together. So here is a look at all of the different backgrounds that I created. You'll see here this third one I actually didn't end up using. I tried adding a little bit more to it and then kind of messed it up. So I just scrapped that one and stayed with the other 5. So here for card number 1, I'm working on this first rainbow panel that I created. And I decided I wanted to just let those colors shine. So I've grabbed this sentiment that reads, "So very proud of you." And I'm going to stamp that out using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. There I'm going to go ahead and hit that with my powder tool. And then I added some Simon Says Stamp clear embossing powder, and I will go ahead next and heat set that. I just love watching when the powder melts, and you can see that sentiment revealed below. That's one of my favorite things. And I love how that black just pops off of those colors on the background. So here for the inside, I have decided to go with the smaller sentiment that reads, "Take it one step at a time, you got this, you'll rock it." I'm again stamping that with my Onyx Black ink. And then here I've again sped this up quite a bit. I am just adding in some of the solid dots all around that in the same rainbow of colors that I used for the front. Now there you'll see that my dot got a little grayed out. I didn't clean off my stamp well enough, so I just, instead of, scrapping that, I just went with the darker blue and stamped right on top of that. I popped up that front panel with some Scotch foam tape and place it down here on a yellow card base. And then I'll add some ATG to the back of my inside panel and place that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 1. So here for card number 2, I'm going to do a little bit more embossing. I've grabbed a piece of some black cardstock. This is Black Licorice from MFT. I'm going to hit that again with my powder tool, and then I will stamp out the sentiment, "You're amazing," using some Versamark ink. And then off camera, I'm going to go ahead and heat set that using some Simon Says Stamp white fine detail embossing powder. For the inside here, I'm stamping out the sentiment, "I'm so glad you're my friend." Again, using that Onyx Black ink. And then underneath that here, I'm going to create a row of circles, and I'm using the smallest 2 of the solid circles. I'm going to stamp that starting with red in the middle, and then I'm using the larger of the 2 there, and then on either side of that I will stamp the smaller one in the same color, and then I'm going to fade that from red to orange to yellow on either side. Next, I'll go ahead and I'm going to place down this front panel using some ATG. And then I've trimmed down that "You're amazing" sentiment to just about 1 inch wide, slightly smaller than that. I've added some foam tape there behind it. Then I'm going to lay that down here on the front, and I decided I wanted to cut that sentiment at an angle. I'll place that down here and then trim off that little bit of excess that's hanging off the side. Finally, I will go ahead and add some ATG to the inside panel and place that on the inside of my card base. And this card base is from my stash. This is made from MFT's Poppy cardstock. And that will complete card number 2. So here for card number 3, this was my absolute favorite background. I love the way that rainbow came together and making all of the rows using all of the circles. I could have made this 100 times, but it did take a very long time. So I've grabbed the square from my MFT square shaker frame die set. And I was originally thinking I might make this a shaker, and then I decided that I just didn't want to take away from that background. It was already so busy. So I just trimmed out the square there, and here I've got a scrap piece of Neenah cardstock, and I'm stamping out that sentiment, "You're doing a fantastic job." Again, using that Onyx Black ink. Here I'm going to add some 1/8 inch Scor-Tape around all 4 sides of that opening. And you'll see I've trimmed down the panel that I stamped on. Give yourself a little more room than I did. I just barely made it inside that square. I don't know what I was thinking when I trimmed it down, but thankfully it worked out. So I'm going to peel away this backing here, and then I will just place this frame down on top of that little background sentiment. I'll add some foam tape to the back of that panel and then place that down on the front of my card base. And this card base is also from my stash. It's made from Paper Tray Ink Hawaiian Shores. For the inside, I'm stamping out the sentiment, "I believe in you." And then here along the bottom, I'll create a row of some yellow circles. Finally, I'll add some ATG to the back of that panel. And place that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 3. So here for card number 4, I'm using a panel that's really similar to card number 2. I just done this sort of same diagonal design, but using the cooler colors. And I'm stamping out the sentiment, "Everyone agreed," using, again, that Onyx Black ink. Now, once I stamped this, I didn't like that there was the blue circle, that it just made it really difficult to read. So I've grabbed some light blue paper from my stash. This is from Paper Tray Ink, and it's called Aqua Mist. I'm going to go ahead and just stamp that sentiment out again. And then I've trimmed that down, and it measures about 1.5 inches wide, maybe closer to 1 3/4 inches. So I've laid that across here, and because I'm covering up some of those circles in the background, I decided to add a few more. So I've laid that across, and then I wanted some sort of peeking out from behind that. So I'm going to stamp those using that Deep Sea ink. Then I'll add a few more using the Cut Grass ink. And then I will finally add one more using the Minty Fresh, but I don't include that in the video here. I've added some foam tape behind my sentiment. I'm going to place that down here on top of my panel. And there I'm just using a little bit of Post-it tape to make sure that my panel doesn't move around on me. I went ahead and trimmed off the excess there, and here I'll add some ATG to the back and place that on the front of my card base. And this card base is made from MFT's Field Day cardstock. Here for the inside, I'm going to stamp out the sentiment, "You're fantastic, amazing, and incredible." And then again, I'm going to take some of these circles and I'm just going to stamp a few of them up in that top corner there using those same colors, that deep sea, cut grass, and minty fresh. I got a little bit of a smudge on the bottom of my panel there, so I'm using my sand eraser just to get rid of that. This has become one of my new best friends. If you haven't tried this out, it is fantastic. Now, it won't get rid of everything, and especially darker ink can be more difficult, but if you have a very light or even freshly done little smudge, it really does take the majority of them away. So of course I've added some ATG to the back there and placed that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 4. So here for card number 5, I've used 2 of the smaller sentiments and placed those together. This is going to read, "Take it one step at a time, you got this, you'll rock it," and then underneath that, "I believe in you." And then while I had everything out, I went ahead and stamped my inside panel. And on this one, I'm going with, "Have I told you lately that you're amazing?" I really love how encouraging all these sentiments are. I'm going to use these for so many different cards. To finish off this panel, I'm going to add 3 circles along the top, and I'm using this circle made up of all these dots. I realized when I finished my designs for the front panels that I had completely forgotten to take this off of the stamp set, so I didn't use this on any of those, and I wanted to make sure to use it on one of the inside panels. So I'm stamping it here using that juice box ink. To finish off the front panel here, I wanted to add a line in between these 2 smaller sentiments, so I grabbed my EK journaling pen. I'm just running that across here, and then I'm going to finish off each end of that line with a little dot. I have again gone ahead and popped up that front panel using some foam tape, and I'll place that down here on the top of my card base. And then I'll add some ATG here and place that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 5. Here are a few close-ups of the finished cards. In the description box below, you'll find my blog post, which has additional photos and links to the supplies I used. Remember to leave me a comment below and let me know which card was your favorite so you can be entered in the March Madness giveaway. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.